Today, we are going to cover the etiology of gangs through a sociological lens. Gangs are simply defined as organized groups of criminals. They vary in structure, organization, and composition. No two gangs are exactly the same. Thus, it is difficult to make generalizations that hold true for every gang. However, the following are common characteristics and techniques shared by most gangs. The first is that gangs seek to spread their influence and are amorphous, or ever-changing, and never static. They are strengthened by close-knit formations which are highly solidified and complex in organizational structure. Gangs are similar to a business or other social group in society, as both have rigid structure. They often start out as school clubs or social clubs of young men and sometimes women. At the start, they commit acts of delinquency and misdemeanors, which may seem harmless. However, this will evolve into a more complex schemes that are spontaneous, formalized, and revolve around crime being a necessity in life. As a gang grows stronger, the sense of loyalty to the group and each other becomes strengthened. This bond results in a series of normative systems and a commitment to setting up a territorial environment to achieve their goals and agenda. Historically, in America, gangs have formed on racial and ethnic lines. Take gangs like the Aryan Brotherhood, the Vice Lords, the KKK, and the Latin Kings as examples. The sociology behind this racial formation is, to no surprise, simple in nature. If a group perceives a sense of oppression, they can mobilize themselves to ward off this oppression, and in the case of gangs, in a violent and hostile manner. The activities the gangs engage in are a result of feeling marginalized in society with the need to aggressively claim status. Sociologist Albert Cohen applies the conflict theory to gang mentality by hypothesizing that today's youth may turn to gangs to symbolize their anger and frustration, oftentimes in response to the status deprivations they experience. The inability to be successful or to achieve desirable goals, such as doing well in school, makes them form a subculture based on the rejection of core values of society. They become anti-institution and anti-establishment, and are disrespectful of teachers, parents, and the authorities. This establishes a psychological conflict between the individual and society, with gangs being the last resort. A characteristic of gangs that makes them appealing to these individuals is the set of symbolic interactions they withhold. This is the incorporation of a sign or motif specific to that gang. This serves to establish territory and strengthen the bond between members. The incorporation of these signs acts as a common belief, uniting the group and elevating the status of the gang to that of a deity. In addition, sociologists Bloch and Niederhofer offer different perspectives on the etiology of gangs. This perspective falls in line with the structural functionalist school of thought, in that they believe that gangs serve a purpose and have a function in society. They provide members of the gang with social and psychological nurturing they did not experience with their families. In this theory, gang members come from broken homes that failed to provide support for the individual or even rejected them. As a result, the individual resorts to the gang for support. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining me.